What's up, y'all? Rich Slayton here. It's been a great summer for competitive Clash Royale, from CRL events to outside competitions, and this one is a great video today. One of the best of moments from the CWA Cup 3, the 2v2 or team-based competition with head-to-head play. And this is a great matchup featuring Morton against Sandbox. Before we jump into it, don't forget to subscribe to my channel, like this video, all that stuff. Make sure you ring the bell and come on back for more great competitive Clash Royale action. Let's waste no more time, jump into it. An amazing BO3 matchup between Morton and Sandbox. And here we go. Sandbox of Tribe Gaming, top of your screen. Morton at the bottom. Of course, Morton, one of the all-time greats in the game, making a pretty good run towards CRL World Finals this year. Sandbox, of course, having a pretty good show himself and has been a big part of Tribe and their push in this new CRL format. And this is interesting. Wow, of course, Drill now allowed, looking like Goblin Drill out of Sandbox, and yes, it is. And on top of that, Morton running bait against Fire Spirit. So that's always going to be a +2 trade for Sandbox. You have one of the best bait players in the world, but then you have Sandbox with the Fire Spirit. This is going to be absolutely fascinating. Of course, early lead here for the Germans, 1777 on that top left-hand tower. 22-26 on the bottom right-hand side right now for Morton. So that early lead could be a huge advantage. Drill comes in. Valk is in play overall for Morton, although not getting it down right now. Choosing to go Skeleton's Log here and Valking onto the Wall Breakers. Very, very smart heads-up play there by Morton to get that Goblin Drill taken care of with the 3 Elixir and then counter with the Valk into the lane that he wants to push. Very, very sharp play here and still maintaining that lead as the first 90 seconds passes. I don't think Sandbox is going to make a big push here behind that Valkyrie. Just cycling back, you're going to continue to push with that drill pressure on the right-hand side, knowing Valk is out of cycle right now, trying to get some with that wall, with that bomber, and he does, and just like that, we're a whole lot closer. Dark Goblin picked up by the Wall Breakers on the left-hand side, does hit a little bit. So you see some interesting choices here. Morton opting not to defend with Valkyrie too much on this one. Fire Spirit, easy counter there. And Morton goes ahead and shows the little polished off #1 emote as he sets up on that left-hand side. So very interesting. Keep in mind, there's nothing really great for the Dark Goblin on Sandbox's side. That's going to be a little bit hard here. And you see the full-on push with the Fireball, maybe expecting Valkyrie that time, as Morton had not really played the Valkyrie yet in defense against that Goblin Drill, maybe trying to get that little Fireball to push the Valkyrie off, get those extra shots. It's a great way to get that Goblin Drill damage, but Morton goes high with the Valk instead, and again, it's the Wall Breakers Fireball push, or the Drill Fireball push, and this time a little bit early there, but Wall Breaker does connect on the left-hand side. Lead right now, just 10 HP for Morton as that spam of the Drill starting to pile up, but early Rocket Cycle out of Morton here, knowing this is going to be tough and not going to get much from the Goblin Barrel, and you see him not playing Goblin Barrel on offense at all right now. So a great adjustment here by one of the all-time greats. Drill in, Fireball in. This should be some decent drill damage. Of course, me there forgetting the log. Not Morton, though, although the lead has shifted. 11 HP lead now for Sandbox as he picks up the sneaky Dark Goblin at the bridge with the Valkyrie. That's absolutely huge. Morton's going to ignore that pressure on the left-hand side and set up with the Inferno Tower on the right-hand side. This time, Valk does come out, and Sandbox did not play that Drill Fireball combination. So absolutely good variance on the defense out of Morton, and that's going to be a huge, huge moment for him. Sets up the Inferno Tower early against the Valk. Good idea there to set the line high. This time, Dark Goblin on the right-hand side for Morton. Fireball in. Doesn't get on the Skeletons. Interesting Fireball placements out of Sandbox, who's behind now, in a lot of trouble. That's not much rocket damage required to get there. I believe that's just going to be 2 here to get this one done with 1:15 seconds left. Has to keep the pressure on and not give Morton opportunities to go ahead and play that rocket cycle. Here we go. In one more time is the Drill, the Bomber up high. Log will hit the Bomber, but not before the Bomber gets on that right-hand tower. Rocket Cycle comes in for Morton now that we're in triple. 197, one more rocket will do it, 335 on the right-hand side. Valkyrie trying to create pressure. Dark Goblin gets in, no rocket needed. Dark Goblin sneaks on through, and Sandbox cannot believe it. What a wild, wild finish there. And great changes on both sides of that one. Of course, Morton varying the defense significantly made it really hard for Sandbox to find the place for that fireball to knock the Valkyrie off. Very smart to go with the Skeleton's log combination as opposed to the Valkyrie consistently, and kind of kept Sandbox off kilter, off balance the entire way through. The Dart Goblin sneaks through, and we talked about that earlier in the game. The Dart Goblin, a really, really difficult thing for Sandbox to handle. So let's go ahead, jump into game number 2 of this really fantastic matchup and see what adjustments they make as we go into our second stanza. One game advantage, and of course you can see the 2v2 format. This was the first matchup for these two, the first game for these two, but as you've noticed, right now we're just focusing on Morton and Sandbox. Not a long video, just going to be looking at this BO3. And look at that, Mortar Cannon Cart. Mortar high here for Morton to open things up. Skeleton Dragons in response. Cannon Cart will break down on Morton's side of the board, and Piggy's in. So the Dark Prince, the Skeleton Dragons, and the Goblin Cage, not bad in response to the Royal Hogs. Of course, you see a lot of damage still getting through anyway, and Lava's up into the same lane does Sandbox. The big question is going to be what spell is Sandbox running? Probably arrows here, not going to be as good, and calling a good game already is Sandbox. Well played out of Morton. Yeah, you see the delivery in there. High with the Spear Goblins. The Miner's going to go right to that Musketeer. Good protection there. Great catch. Oh, does not quite keep the Muskie on, though. The Knight gets down. The Miner sneaks on through and just trying to hold off that Inferno Dragon the best he can. Look at the pressure right now. Sandbox a lot on the board. Morton very, very low on Elixir, and Dark Prince will connect on that right-hand side and do a ton of damage. Absolute devastation here for Sandbox opening up. So after Morton plays a brilliant game and wins, one that most people would say should have gone the other direction. Of course, maybe the pros have a different opinion on that one. Morton now in a lot of trouble here. Sandbox putting the pressure on early, and that's a great time. You see a lot of pros not going down to 0 early on in games, especially in games like this against high-level opponents, but Sandbox with a good read at that moment, realizing that Morton had nothing to play defense on that right-hand side. Dark Prince has a ton of damage. Now Spears pick up the Inferno Dragon. It's a little bit of pressure being put down by the Inferno as Sandbox goes and lavas up into Morton's weak hand side. And now splitting here with the Flying Machine in response to the Cannon Cart. I believe that's going to counter before it crosses the bridge. We'll see. And there you go. Piggy's in, Cage back in cycle, so pulls the Royal Hogs pretty easily. And that's going to be some Skeleton Dragons on the board, Dark Prince on the board. Man, there is a ton on the board right now for Sandbox. Of course, Morton stacking Musketeers. Can he protect this Muskie on the right-hand side? Delivery comes in and does the job very well. And now that Cannon Cart pressuring forces a Miner out in a situation that maybe Sandbox wouldn't have preferred. Now Mortar pressure on that left-hand side as well. And nothing to pick up the Mortar here. So Mortar will just go ahead and connect on that left-hand side. Got to go ahead and let it burn down, but gets two very important shots. Does Morton, and a great kite here on that Flying Machine to keep the damage off that right-hand tower and take care of this Inferno Dragon. Royal Hogs in, Goblin Cage in reply. Have not seen the spell yet from Morton. You kind of assume that it's going to be Earthquake at this stage. I feel like we would have seen a Fireball in response to some of the aerial stuff if that was the spell overall. Decides not to use what I suspect is an Earthquake against that Cage, though. Brawler in, good pickup with the Spear Goblins. Miner goes right to that Musketeer, and this time the Knight does get the pickup, but that health getting dangerously low on the right-hand side for Morton. Sandbox in a really great spot here. Arrows as well, 283 remaining on that right-hand side. Mortar up one more time, and does Sandbox have anything for it? And he does this time. Gets down the Dark Prince. Cannon Cart aggressive on that left-hand side. Miner comes out in reply. Dark Prince trying to put pressure on the right-hand side. If it can connect, that's absolutely huge. Knight does pick up instead, though. Minute 15, minute 12 remaining, and right now it is Sandbox by a mile, but another Mortar connection. 283 to 839. Flying Machine on the board, and Sandbox lavas up here. Trying to put pressure on that right-hand lane. Lava's an interesting choice here. Mortar comes down, Pigs come down. Cage to pick up the Mortar and the Pigs together, and there goes the Earthquake. Pigs going to making a beeline for that tower. They are all over it. Arrows are not going to be enough. Mortar gets in, 46 HP. Sandbox right there, but a brilliant catch. Oh my word, 46 HP, and it's going to be Morton getting back to Earthquake. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. That's what Morton does in the tight situations all the way back to the first season of CRL in 2018. Plays out of a tough situation, does not freak out when his back is against the wall, and that is a huge 2-0 win. Some of the best play we've seen out of Morton so far in 2021, and that's why he is making a great run for the CRL. World Finals this year. Ooh, boy, you gotta love that in Clash Royale. Wow. Now, I know some of you tuned in and saw, oh, the video's a certain length. Well, this must be a full 3-game back and forth. Tricked you, but what I do have for you is a bonus game from Morton from this exact same event. It's later from the same day. This is a great mirror matchup. Let's go ahead and check that one out. And here we go. It's Morton versus Rocket. And this one, a lot of the casters were talking about it afterwards. A great mirror matchup, and you'll see the decks here in just one moment as Morton goes and throws down the Royal Ghost, and in response, Rocket with the Bandit. Again, telling you right out the gate, this is a mirror matchup, spammy on both sides, and this is a fascinating bit of gameplay from both of these two. And see, the Bandit dash does sneak on through here for Rocket. Dark Prince and Royal Ghost, both very popular. Dark Prince, of course, very popular right now because of the Goblin Drill. Royal Ghost not quite getting its shine, even though it does help against the Goblin Drill. Maybe not the same level of Dark Prince, which is probably the #1 counter for the Goblin Drill right now. Valkyrie #2, just because of that weight versus Fireball difference between those two cards. Morton ghosts up one more time on the right-hand side. Rocket with the Bandit in reply. Seen Mother Witch out of Rocket, and very interesting to think about this, but Mother Witch still really, really powerful, still really, really frustrating, but not talked about anywhere near as much because of how Drill has dominated the game and really changed the conversation, even though Mother Witch is still out there. Now, because of Drill becoming more popular and Mother Witch becoming slightly less popular, Graveyard has seen a bit of a resurgence, but right now it's Ram Rider spam with Mother Witch in both directions, and Morton does take the lead back with the Ram Rider on the left-hand side. Mother Witch does finish her off, though, and send a pig the opposite direction. The pig does not pick up the Bandit, but another pig does pick up, and this is really, really nice stuff here for Rocket. Use of the Mother Witch, those pigs timing well on defense to protect her and keep her alive a little bit longer. First 2 minutes away into double elixir time, and now again a pig protection for Rocket. So far that's working out very well for him. Is slightly behind right now against Morton, 2078 to 1874. But Rocket feeling like he's in a pretty good spot here. Has 4 on the board plus more in the hole, and he pekkas up way in the back. Morton does the same thing on his side. So you see right now, Rocket with the elixir advantage. P.E.K.K.A. supported by the Mother Witch. Poison will go ahead and do a lot to her. As Rocket now replies with quite a lot spent against that Royal Ghost, and his right-hand tower will take care of the pressure, but not going to turn into a whole lot. And just like that, the elixir lead, with spending so much on that Royal Ghost, elixir lead evaporates for Rocket. And the Bandit sneaks on through one more time, and that is a ton of damage for Rocket. And you see the well played from Morton, just creating a little bit of space for that Bandit to get through, and Morton had to respect the heads-up play there with the snowball out of Rocket. Bandit going to go to the Mother Witch. Rocket playing great, great games here right at the bridge and beyond. And the Ram Rider does have to focus on 2 targets here, so the Pig and the Ram Rider both connect for Rocket. 678 right now. And he is way in the lead. Morton in a lot of trouble behind on elixir once these two get taken care of. Although that E-Wiz is going to stay just out of tower range, so this actually might work out well for the German. As we go into the final minute, triple elixir on its way. Morton way, way behind. Rocket in a great position. And how the heck does Morton fight out of a situation like this? Mother Witch for Mother Witch on the right-hand side. And now just spamming the bridge like a madman is Morton. The E-Wiz working on the E-Wiz. P.E.K.K.A. has to come down for Rocket to defend there. And look at all the damage on the right-hand side. But now Morton goes aggressive. Royal Ghost, Mother Witch, and P.E.K.K.A. Ram Rider to slow down that P.E.K.K.A. on the opposite lane here. Great Ram Rider out of Morton. And the Ram Rider connects. P.E.K.K.A. does not. Ram Rider in. P.E.K.K.A. down. Royal Ghost in. Poison on the board. And oh my word, look at this. The lead changes just by a hair with 20 seconds left, and just like that, Morton has both the damage lead and the elixir lead, 604 to 678, and that's insurmountable. There's no way you're coming back from that. Poison down. What an unbelievable turn of events for Morton. What a great bit of gameplay in this one, and I didn't know how this one shook down. I just knew that it was a great mirror match, and their casters recommended it, and they did not lie. What great gameplay out of Morton, and that's what we love to see. Rocket with some really good stuff in the middle portion of that matchup, but man, Morton with some slight adjustments and knew when to pour the pressure on. That's the experience, that's the high level, and that's why he's one of the greats. Hope you enjoyed this one, some of the best of the CWA Cup 3. I might bring you some more of that pretty soon, but of course, we're moving on to the Bren Chong Cup 3. They were hitting those triples a lot lately, so make sure, of course, if you haven't yet before this video started, go ahead and do it now. Subscribe to this channel, ring the bell, make sure you're back here. We're live with lots of competition here as well, not to mention the shorts that break down some technique and occasional videos, replays of BO3s and stuff just like this. I'm Rich Slayton. This is the most fun place for Clash Royale esports, and don't forget to be excellent to each other.